Now let's continue to find out what unique aspects that we can do with our prompts using Prompt Book. So we have all the different artists, and I would really recommend going through and using this really as your glossary that you always can pull from for specific looks and feels. So all these sci-fi artists we can pull from and use the styles, the photographers, for concept art. And that actually reminds me, this just kind of opened my mind when I saw that you could do something like this. And I think this is going to be our last scuba diver reference. So let's do scuba diver as a schematic drawing. We're not going to add the car to this one. And what this is going to do is it's going to now take what we were working with before, retain our subject, which is the scuba diver, and turn it into more of the blueprint style of what actually makes up a scuba diver. So I really like this top right image, and that's just a totally different look and feel. So we could have typed in scuba diver on a piece of paper being drawn, highly detailed, but we can use keywords that's also going to describe the kind of output we're going for as well. So in my mind, I saw more of this style. So this is a really cool, unique style that you could even do a schematic of something that you've never seen before, like a UFO schematic or a schematic of a Transformers or a Gundam fighter, which let's just actually see what that output would be. So I'm gonna do blueprint schematic of a high-tech UFO design. We'll let that start creating, and we'll also do a schematic of a Transformers robot. And here we have our UFO, and it's crazy that it creates 4 different versions so quickly. Just to even rough outline this by hand would have taken literally hours for me to do. So you can start to see the potential of using this for personal projects and for professional projects where you're not just bound by typing in stuff like an astronaut riding a horse. You can literally tell it so specifically to create this outline of what a Transformers robot would be made up of and make it look like a detailed breakdown of that thing that doesn't even exist in physical reality is so crazy. And if someone told me that you could do this over a year ago, I would not have believed it at all. So let's keep seeing what else we can do, which are things like illustrations and creating 3D objects. So what I'm gonna do now is create a total opposite low poly, which we can see what that example looks like here. 3D of a high-tech UFO. And let's see if there's any other prompts in here that we can add to that. Let's type in 3D Blender render, because like I mentioned before, it will also mimic the styles that come from specific softwares. So not only can you mimic the style of specific cameras, specific lenses, but it also knows, and specific styles from movies, it also knows the way certain render engines that create videos look like. So it's gonna mimic that, and we're gonna take our very highly detailed schematic of our subject, which in this case is the UFO, and we're gonna output a much more minimal computer-generated item that's gonna look more like it's coming from a Pixar movie. And just like that, we have our 3D version. So here's what we have for our newest prompt. The lighting is completely different, the coloring is completely different, the look and feel is completely different versus our flat, highly detailed schematic. So continuing on to more options, if we're creating a children's book, we can create a UFO in the style of a children's book if that was what we were looking for. If we wanted much more simplistic vectors, we can also do that as well. Scientific illustrations, which are similar to the schematics that we were creating. But look at this, it's literally a scientific illustration of Pikachu. That's something that would have taken many, many hours for an artist to create. We can do caricatures, movie posters, psychedelic art. Character design is another great one for getting off the ground quickly with ideas right out of the gate for fantasy type creatures and characters in video games that don't exist yet that would take a lot of time to brainstorm. And that leads to emotions. Like I mentioned before, it does a really good job of picking up on subtle cues that humans would use to explain a certain feeling. For example, coziness, it's gonna create an ambient, warm type of lighting. Romantic, it's gonna also do the same thing for the romantic feeling. Warmer colors, softer look and feel. And the same goes for all of the other explanation words that you can use to convey a certain type of emotion. It's gonna convey that in the coloring and the lighting quality. The same goes for negative emotions. If this is the look you're going for, you can use these words. And for even more customization on the look, there are key words that have kind of developed over the course of the internet of specific genres of art styles. This goes the same for music, how there's many different genres of music. There's, let's say, house music, but then there's many genres of house within that genre of music, like French house, soft house, hard house, electro house. There's also keywords that explain specific styles: vaporwave, dreamcore, acid wave. So you can see some are more trippy, some are more 90s and retro. So going through here and pulling some of the keywords that align with your unique style is a great jumping off point for your future prompts.